Matt's Place is one of our key programs of Bayside Community Care, and the vision of Bayside Community Care is to see people empowered, connected and appreciated as valuable community members. So Matt's Place is one of the key ways we achieve the vision and mission of Bayside Community Care. We provide a wonderful 2-course meal where people from the community can come in and enjoy a meal and feel connected with others.
The food's good, the meals are good, but it's good, the crowd and that, and the people, and you meet people and that.
So aside from the 2-course hot meal that we offer each week, we also offer additional services such as dental checkups, hearing checkups, as well as vaccinations. We offer additional services so that people can live healthy lives. The wonderful thing about Matt's Place is not just the people that come in here, but it's also the wonderful team of volunteers that have come in each week to put on this incredible lunch.
I've been at Matt's Place since the beginning, right on day one, and it's been over 15 years since I've been here. I'm a cook and we prepare meals, desserts. My background was as a cook in the army, so I'm just using what I learnt then to do it here now, and that's, it's just marvellous.
Oh, look, I feel like it's like family. People, when I come here, they're so welcoming, so friendly. Everyone really does their best. We work as a great team. So for me, it's like giving and, helping others. So that's what it's about for me.
Hi, it's great to be here with John Tetteru, who's from Matt's Place, and Alana Lauder, who I work alongside, one of my colleagues at Bayside Church who's on staff. And we're going to talk today a little bit about our 2 major programs, and that is Matt's Place Community Meals Program and our Emergency Food Relief. Now, John, I just recently caught up with all the whole history of Matt's Place, and it's quite extraordinary. Apparently, Bayside Church, one of many churches in the local area, the group of pastors got together and they were thinking about, what can we do collectively as churches, as a sort of an ecumenical expression. And they went to the local mayor at the time, this is going back 17 years ago, and they asked her basically what needs are there in the community, and she said, we need a community meals program. And they said, yep, we can do that, and they got their heads together. Now, apparently, you've been a part of that whole process since day one.
Yes, I have. A friend of mine was on that Interchurch Council, and I had just retired from work, and he said, well, our organisation, the Knights of the Southern Cross, was part of it, and because I was a member, he said, come on board. So I was on with the initial committee that organised it, and went through that, and I thought, well, I've gone this far, I'll keep going.
Wow.
And I just started going and still there.
You're still there. And you're probably the very few people that have been there since day one, since it started.
I think I am. I think I'm the last original.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Yes. Can you tell me what impact, why you chose to get involved?
Well, as I was retired and I wanted to do some other things for the community. I've been blessed with good health, good family, and I just wanted to give back to the community. And this was put in front of me and I said, yes, I'll do it. And I've just been going on from there, helping. Initially we had a paid cook that the Commonwealth Department funded, and then when his stint finished and the money ran out, we got volunteer cooks in. It's a magnificent, some were chefs, had their own restaurants and that. They came, and as they departed to other things, I sort of moved up and ended up being a cook myself.
And now you're the head cook?
With another fella, yes.
Yeah, with another fella.
With Bill. Yes.
Fantastic.
The amazing thing is we were 2 ex-army cooks, so...
Right, so those skills were there.
Yeah, after quite a few decades. We haven't forgotten too much.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So in the whole span of this time that you've been volunteering at Matt's Place, are there some stories, some standout stories that really speak to the impact that Matt's Place is making in the community?
Yeah, I think it's the guests themselves. they used to come from far and wide to come to us, and they enjoyed getting the meals for a start, but also socialising with others. Some people are on their own for most of the week, and it's a chance for them to meet other people, similar circumstances, which is great.
Yeah.
One of the things we used to have is school kids come and help out, and especially from their background, and it was good for them to see what other people are like, what other circumstances come about. And I also, with my involvement with Central Bayside Community Health Services, they ran programs for the special needs people, and I got some of those special needs to come and volunteer as well with a carer. And everybody enjoyed it. The volunteers were great with them to get them involved, and the guests appreciated as well. Even the school kids, they can see how well they are as regards to the guests as well as those that had special needs.
And it's so important because what you're doing is from the volunteers to the guests that are actually coming, to the school kids, to the people who may have special needs, everyone has a place and everyone is feeling valued.
That's right, yes.
Which is such a key component.
It was great. Everybody got on. I can't recall any hassles or anything or disagreements or... It just flowed smoothly.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it's great to see now, obviously, since lockdowns are a thing of the past. And obviously we've been rebuilding in the last year. It's been wonderful to see people coming from far and wide, you know, in Endeavour Hills, Broadmeadows. I mean, obviously the local community, but we are starting to see that traction of people coming from, again, back to Matt's Place.
Yeah, it's great. You know, the numbers are slowly building up. When we first started our first sit-down since COVID, lockdowns were eased, we had 30, 40, but now we're up to 50, 60.
Yeah, it's
and we
doubled.
still do lots of takeaways as well,
Which is
20 to
fabulous.
30. So sort of getting up to the lower numbers we used to have pre-COVID.
Yeah, fantastic.
But it's great.
Yeah, it's great. And obviously that, it's, to me, it's just not a meal. What would you say to that? Is it just a meal to you?
Well, I like to think it's an exceptional meal.
Yeah, it is an exceptional meal because you cooked it.
Yes. And that the guests enjoy the meals, but it's also the social interaction for the people as well.
Yeah, that's right. I think loneliness tends to be more of a pandemic in our society than anything, and so I think it's helping to combat that.
Yeah, I think it's more loneliness than maybe homelessness.
Yeah. So you've been here a very long time. What's kept you here?
Well, it's me giving back to the community. I've always been involved in things where the kids, you know, school councils, all that sort of thing. It's just get involved. I'm involved in other things as well, and I try to bring them all together so that this group can help that group, and I'm with Vinnie's as well. And I give out, when I do Vinnie's house calls, I give the Matt's Place brochures in the bag so people know about Matt's Place, especially if they're new to the area.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So it's a chance for them to come and have a meal, make what we give them last a bit longer.
Longer as well. And what would you like to see for the future for Matt's Place?
I'd like to see the school communities get involved again like they used to.
Yeah.
And also to get a few more younger volunteers. And I like to see Matt's Place just keep going and going.
Yeah.
But some more younger volunteers. A lot of our volunteers are, I hate to say it, but over 70s. And
Just a little bit older.
Just a little bit older. And they love it too, being there. And I think some of the volunteers have formed great friendships amongst themselves that they wouldn't have.
It's like a family, isn't it?
It's a big, one big happy family. But I'd like to see some more younger people become involved. So as us older people might leave due to one reason or other, they can just step in and take over.
It's great.
But that's what I like,
See it expand in with younger blood, but also, who knows, maybe expand to other locations too.
Well, there was that thought years ago to go to Moorabbin, but that didn't eventuate. But like we expanded to Chelsea, that was great, and you can see how wonderful it is down there.
Yep.
But if we could do a bit further up, that'd
We'll
be good.
see. We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
So, Alana, thanks for that, John.
Welcome. Thank you.
Alana, you obviously have volunteered before at Matt's Place, but you're now on staff at Bayside Church, and often you might be down at the front area where you are giving out emergency food relief hampers to people in our community. I'm curious, because you're on the coalface, can you tell me a story of what impact you are seeing the food relief program is making in the community?
People are desperate, Sandra. You know, times are tough, and for some people, it's a regular place they come just to get food, just to survive.
Yeah.
It's, you know, not only do we give out hampers, but then you have clients who say, "Oh, can I have that something little extra, like might be a deodorant or something?" But every bit helps.
Yeah. Is there any stories that stand out to you?
Yes, absolutely. There's lots of stories, but I'll share two in particular. One was a client came in. She was a victim of domestic violence, and you know, she was in tears. I sat with her. I let her tell her story, and for her, it was one of the first moments where she felt someone had her back. That someone was giving with no benefit. She wasn't just a number going through some system.
Yeah.
She was being treated as a human being with value, and it made a profound impact on her. She was in tears, with completely blown away by and with gratitude.
And isn't that incredible? Because really, you know, it doesn't take much for us to all just donate a couple of grocery items, you know, non-perishable food items, and just drop them off. But the impact that makes on someone who is experiencing, in this case, domestic violence, says a lot.
Yeah, one of my other favourite stories is a client who we've never met, but we've met their support worker who comes and picks up food. And this particular client has dietary needs. So we create a hamper with a little just piece of paper with their name on it. That's all that's to say this hamper's for that person when they come. Now this person has extreme mental health issues, but over time, knowing that someone made up a hamper specifically for them has actually helped them to feel safer, to be seen, and it has massively impacted their mental health.
Wow.
I know it's astounding. All we're doing on one hand is giving out food, but that's not all we're doing.
No.
And to know that you've made a difference in someone's mental health journey is huge, absolutely huge.
Well, let me just tease that out a little bit, because to me it's not just food that we're providing. What else do you see that, I mean, even from that story, that you see that we are giving people?
Well, we're giving people the ability to know, well, that they know that they're seen. They know that they stand out in this case. The hamper was just for her.
Yeah.
I sat down and spoke to the lady with domestic violence. People feel seen. People feel having their immediate needs met. And for some people that come in on a weekly or fortnightly basis, it's become part of their world, their community. There's another lady that comes in. She, because of her, for whatever reasons, she doesn't take much, but she comes in every single week, and sometimes she makes us, the staff, a bowl of cooked rice.
Yes.
You know, to give...
And it's so good.
Yeah, to give back to us. And it's like astounding. She's been doing it for years, and she's of a different faith.
Yes.
But she comes in every week and chats to us, knows us all by name.
So stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
Yeah. And really, I love all those stories, because when you're going through tough times, often I imagine what your internal dialogue is that you're doing this on your own.
Yeah.
There's no one else, you know, that is going through what you're going through. And to have those aspects, what you're talking about, being seen, being heard, being recognised for what you're going through, makes you realise, okay, I'm not alone.
No.
I don't have to go through this tough time on my own.
as I said, so many stories. I'm thinking of someone else whose partner's incarcerated. And when she first came, she was so embarrassed to share that fact. It was around Christmas time. But when that information was shared and none of us blinked or responded in any way that was negative, so that was the shame element. So there's the scene, there's the shame and the need. All those things are being met just through the process of giving out food. It's astounding.
Wow.
It's one of my favourite parts of the job.
Yeah, and I imagine there might be, it takes a lot of courage to knock on a door and say, I need some food.
Yeah.
And there could be shame involved in that.
Yes.
And yet to have a friendly face.
Yep.
It's lovely. If we were to stop this food relief program, what impact do you see that having?
I can't even imagine. There would be people who would be absolutely devastated. Devastated emotionally, devastated financially, because over the years, for those, especially with the regulars, we've built up relationship, we've built up trust. We understand their particular quirks in whether they want it, what they want and what they need, and we try and meet those their individual needs in that regard. That's such an important place for people in terms of safety and community, and it would be devastating to take away these things.
And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much for people to get involved in that in terms of just bringing in donated goods of non-perishable food so we have enough to be able to pack.
Yep.
So that we are not seeing those consequences.
Yep.
And likewise, I imagine with Matt's Place, it's about the volunteers coming in so that we can continue to serve week in, week out, whether it's Cheltenham or Chelsea, that 2-course meal.
Yes. And as you say, we had to close down during COVID, and we all felt devastated because we couldn't serve the community. But once we reopened, all those people came back.
But we're still able to give them a takeaway meal.
We did takeaway meals for a while when we couldn't have sit down, but a lot of them asked when we're going to have sit down again because we just want to talk.
Yeah.
And I think the Chatty Cafe, it's just great. They come in early, sit, cup of tea.
Yep, the Chatty Cafe scheme is a wonderful program.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And they can stay with the people longer rather than just come in, eat and then go. Now they form those bondship with other people. Yeah. And it's just marvellous. Yeah.
It is. It's wonderful. It's just encouraging interaction and connectedness. Well, I would like to highlight just one particular individual that's really, in many ways, she would hate to be highlighted, but she deserves to be because she's been in the background making particularly our food relief program happen week in, week out. This lady has been involved in the program since 2017. She's faithfully served in the emergency food relief packing hampers, and I have this beautiful photo of her when we were in lockdown. Our whole auditorium turned into this emergency food relief program, and she was there busily making sure that people in our community had food, as well as order food for our Matt's Place Community Meals program. And so I'd love to highlight Cheryl Brockwell. Cheryl, you're an amazing woman and we thank you for all your service. I know you don't do it to be highlighted, but we really want to acknowledge you for all that you do and the impact that you are having in this community. I know you are one of many faces that make our programs work, and so for that we want to honour you and we appreciate you. Alana and John, thank you so much for coming in and sharing about Matt's Place and the emergency food relief. I'm really thankful for that.
Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure just to promote Matt's Place.
Yeah,
and hopefully it will just keep going into the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that.
great.
We're now going to hear about one of our other programs, and that's our Bayside Forever Home. Here's the video.
I had been to Africa a few years before our purchase of the home in 2005 and was overwhelmed by the need. Not knowing where to actually start, I thought, why don't we speak to our friends who are actually making a difference, Ryan and Herda Ognoddy. And they had actually established a model of not just making orphanages and rescuing children, but actually providing children with a future and a hope. We were absolutely taken aback by this model and how that as we've watched our house grow, how it has actually changed the lives of these young children. It has been quite outstanding. So from 2005 when we purchased the home to then 2006 when we went out and decked the house out and took a team of ordinary people who set this up ready to receive our first children, we have seen such an incredible difference in these children's lives. How do you make a change? Good question. You make it one child at a time. You make it as you see the need arise and as you can help. And this was something that we saw that we could do, that we could get our hands on and actually make a difference. And I am so glad that we did.
Such a great overview of the work that we are doing in South Africa and particularly with the Bayside Forever Home. I'm now joined by Bev Simpson. Hello, Bev.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Great to have you on the set.
Thank you.
And more importantly, great to have you share a little bit about the Bayside Forever Home.
Yeah.
But before you do, just got flashing back, I remember you joined Bayside Church around 2007 and of course we started the home around 2005. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what did it feel like joining a church and hearing that we were doing some work in South Africa, particularly your hometown in Johannesburg?
It was really impactful, Sandra. I remember seeing an ad on screen and just bursting into tears and being really, really moved. Firstly, amazed that we were making an impact in the place that I came from, especially at a time where I felt such guilt about leaving my home and taking my income away from it.
Yes.
And away from being able to help out that way. And so suddenly here I was at a church, which I made my home, where I was able to still make an impact back in my other home.
Amazing. Yeah, what are the chances, really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And, of course, you had the privilege, because you go back home often to see family, you had the privilege of actually going to see our Forever Home and meet the children in 2017. So tell me what that was like for you.
Oh, so exciting, but a bit surreal. It was very strange to go back and not spend the entire time with my family. It was a real privilege. It was incredible to be able to meet. At that time we had a home full of boys.
Yes.
And it was really special. There'd been some renovations done on the house. I actually got to see the house where they were living and see their sleeping arrangements. And you know, the house is literally across the road from where my parents live. So I can say it's a really good neighbourhood. It's a safe neighbourhood. The home's in a beautiful leafy street. And then we were also able to take the boys to the game reserve and treat them to what I would do with my family as well. So go stay in a nice semi-luxurious resort and take them out on game drives every day.
What a treat for them, hey?
For a lot of them, it was the first time they'd ever seen any of these animals in the wild.
Yeah.
And, you know, animals and safaris are a thing about South Africa, and yet they had never experienced it in their lives before. So it was such a privilege to be able to do that as well. Just see the delight on their faces.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were scared, but mostly they were just so excited and having so much fun, and that was a great thing to share with them.
And it sounds like they were just normal kids.
They were.
Yeah, amazing.
They were, except that you know that our kids, you know, have had some really traumatic and tough lives prior to coming into the Bayside Forever Home. You know, there's one of the things that we do, which I'm so proud of, is provide medication for those that are affected by HIV or AIDS.
Yes.
Under normal circumstances, those kids and others would never be able to access that medication. It is so expensive. There is no government-funded program to provide it. It is only private funding that allowed us to provide that to some of our kids and therefore give them the hope of a full and healthy life.
And that's a really interesting point, because as Australians, we forget the privilege of having things like Medicare.
Yeah.
And then you visit countries, even our neighbouring countries, where those kind of social benefits aren't in existence. And so how incredible that we can provide the cost of the medication so they can get the best care in the world.
That's it. That's it.
So knowing very well, obviously, the issues that exist in South Africa, what impact do you see that particularly Bayside Forever Home and the wider Acres of Love organisation is having, do you think, there?
I think I mentioned this to you very briefly before. I think it's just an incredible way of making an impact, but proportionate to what is being given. Africa, unlike other places, is full of corruption, and growing up there, you become a little bit jaded about charity or about giving because you see corruption, you see bribes, and you often question if your money is actually going to the intended recipient. However, with the Bayside Forever Home and with Acres of Love, absolutely every cent that is being donated is being used towards that objective. There's no bribes being paid. There is no corruption. It's making an impact in the way that it's intended. And the size of that is just incredible. Number two, you know, we know that the size of the problem in Africa is just huge. There are so many young people, as you said, who are born without parents or who are orphaned very early. In fact, I heard a stat last week that already the number of people under the age of 30, most of them live in Africa today. And it's slated that in the future the world's population will be majority African.
Wow.
Yeah, a really interesting statistic. So here is a way that you can help one and help many. So,
and the future generations that are rising up, because obviously if more children are being born in Africa, the continent, compared to maybe other nations, we need to be funneling money that way to help them rise up and get the education.
Exactly.
So they are future leaders.
Exactly, and the impact that we're making today is going to be an exponential impact that just has this carry-on effect into the future.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. Well, is there any stories that you've experienced there that you'd love to share with us that touched you?
Yeah, I had a few touching moments, but I'll recount the one of with the boys while we were doing a safari, and they were all staying in these rooms, and obviously they were not in their usual home, so they were a little bit, I guess, excited, amazed, overwhelmed. But we had so much fun. We'd all go and hang out together, just like normal kids. And Rob and Christy's kids were there too, and we were able to play cards and chat and listen to music and just have regular conversations. I mean, that was amazing. And the reason why that was so impactful is because it just cemented into me how what we're doing in terms of our giving and our supporting of this home is honestly giving these kids a future and a hope, is helping them understand, you know, that there is a future for them, that they can be healthy, they can grow up, they can be educated, they will be supported, they are loved.
Yes.
And most of all that, you know, they have Jesus there as well. And so it was a really special moment.
Oh, that is amazing. And, you know, now knowing that all the boys have been launched from the house, which basically means they've grown up, they've initiated out, and many of them are part of the Forever Home still as a family, because you never leave your family. And some of them have gone to help other homes, and some of them have gone off to do apprenticeships and all sorts of different things. I mean, I know for myself personally, I just think that's so incredible to know that I've been part of that, to see these kids just have that hope and future that you're talking about.
Exactly.
So quite incredible. One last question that I'm really interested to know from your perspective is that, you know, we can tend to be caring about what's happening in our own backyard, and we should, but why should Australians, why should people who are part of our congregation care about what's happening in South Africa? Why should they get involved in something like the Bayside Forever Home?
I think when you've travelled, you often get to realise how good we've got it in Australia. And I think this is one way that you can expand your impact. And like I said before, you can make that impact exponential. It's a way for us to give and to be Jesus's hands and feet in a really tangible, really practical way. But the best thing of all is how far such a little goes. So here
true.
in Australia, you could give $10 and maybe you'd buy somebody lunch for a day. In South Africa, $10 is 100 Rand. In fact, it's more than 100 Rand now. And that goes such a long way. That could potentially feed somebody for a week or maybe even a month.
Wow. I mean, when you put it in terms like that,
Yeah.
it really does bring it home, like
Yeah.
how far your money can go in a country like South Africa
Yeah,
and making that impact.
that's it. That's it. But it's all about being Jesus' hands and feet. So here's a really beautiful way for us to support what will be the future of the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Growing population. They talk about Africa being the food belt of the world in the future. So
Yeah.
if we are caring for our planet and caring for every human on it, like Jesus instructed us to, then this is a really safe and good investment.
And part of our legacy as a church as well, that we are putting something in and seeing the fruit of it. We're already seeing the fruit of it in the kids'
That's
lives.
it.
So wonderful! Thank you for sharing everything that you have today, and I really, I hope has inspired others to join and to make an impact in the lives of these kids. Thanks, Bev.
Me too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, today you've heard quite a lot about our projects, well, 3 major projects: Matt's Place Community Meals Program, our emergency food relief, and the Bayside Forever Home in South Africa. They're just a small sample of the things that we do at Bayside Community Care, but we would love for you to be involved. And you may be wondering, well, how can I get involved? Of course, you can get involved in quite a few ways. If you've got spare time on your hands, you might want to consider volunteering for one of our programs, such as Matt's Place or our emergency food relief. At times, we do other things during the course of the year where we need volunteers to come and help out. The other way that you can get involved is to be an ambassador for our programs. We need people on the ground who will talk about our programs and encourage other organisations, community groups to support us. People love to support local. And so we are currently looking for organisations to come alongside with us and to maybe sponsor or donate to help ensure that we can continue the good work that we do. You might want to approach your local workplace or your school, if you're involved in a school community, to see if they would love to do a food relief drive, or if your organisation would love to back what we're doing by running a fundraising event. There are a myriad of ways that you can get involved. Your organisation might like to sponsor, and so that could be something you could discuss. You could also look at running your own fundraising event. Perhaps you want to do something where you do a walk and you raise funds for Bayside Community Care. Of course, you can consider just simply donating. And, I did some maths that if we all just donated the value of 2 coffees a week, and 100 people chose to do that, we would raise over $23,000 for one of our programs, which would ensure that our doors stay open and that we can continue to serve up good meals every week for people who are in need. So don't minimise just even a small donation on a regular basis, the impact that can make. And so if you would like to do that, all you need to do is go to the Bayside Community Care website, which is baysidecommunitycare.com.au. Click the donate button and you can just follow the prompts there. You can become a regular giver, or you can just give a one-off tax deductible gift, and anything over $2 is tax deductible. So we encourage you to consider prayerfully what you can get involved with, and even if it's just spreading the word about our projects, we would love your support.